Baylor, Texas Tech, and Lucky Charms. One of these things is not like the others. You guessed it, Texas Tech, because the others are in a bowl. Welcome to the Barosaurus Rex Show. Let's talk about November's narrow world of sports. But first, a message from our sponsors. Today's program is brought to you by Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You didn't ask, but we're gonna tell. October came to a close with the Bears trying to pull an upset over Oklahoma State. Let's just say that the Bears were a little less than ferocious. The good news is the Rangers became the first MLB franchise from the state of Texas to win a World Series after beating the St. Louis Cardinals in 6 games. What's that? No, I mean, I might have dozed off before the last pitch, but the game was in hand. Okay, I'm being told that St. Louis somehow came back and won Game 6. So apparently the Rangers put them away in 7 games. Take down the banner, please. Thank you.
Do any of you understand how a man can hurt inside?
Well, at least I can get back to being an Astros fan and rest up this hamstring that I pulled trying to jump onto the Rangers bandwagon. Back to football. After getting off to a slow start in their homecoming game, the Bears manhandled the Missouri Tigers. What a great way to commemorate the oldest homecoming in the nation. That's right, Mizzou. Most historians consider 1909 before 1911. Chew on that in the SEC. After 3 quarters of napping, the Bears mounted a record comeback against the Kansas Jayhawks. That sounds impressive, but why were we behind Kansas in the first place? Well, I guess that shows how far we've come as Baylor fans that we can even complain about winning now. Last week, Baylor faced a foe that it has never defeated, Oklahoma. Coming into Waco, ranked number 5 nationally, the Sooners presented a real David versus Goliath matchup. But just like the biblical story, this one had a little divine intervention.
Griffin to throw, pass over the middle, off the hands, deflected to Kendall Wright! Wright's gonna take it all the way! Off the hands of Kevin Reese, Kendall Wright is Johnny on the spot! It's an 87-yard touchdown pass!
As time was running out in the 4th quarter, it looked like we were headed for overtime, until Coach Stoops decided to play with fire and call a timeout. Bad move, Bob.
Griffin steps back in the shotgun, empty backfield again. 15 seconds to go. Griffin steps up, slides to the left side. He's throwing for the end zone.
Touchdown!
Oh, it's caught! Oh my goodness! Touchdown Bears! Touchdown Baylor! Oh, it's caught by Terrence Williams! Touchdown Bears! With 8 seconds to play in the 4th quarter. The Bears have their first win ever over the Oklahoma Sooners. Baylor has defeated a top 5 team for the first time since they beat 3rd-ranked USC in 1985. It is a gold rush onto the field. Here come the fans out of the stands. Baylor 45, Oklahoma 38.
Benedict Aggie lost to the Missouri Flip-Flops in the Breach of Contract Bowl. And thus, A&M has preserved its 16-year streak without beating an SEC team. Here's to another 16 years. Last Saturday, the Bears traveled to Jerry World, otherwise known as Cowboy Stadium, to attempt a feat that has evaded them in the Big 12 era, defeating Texas Tech. From the get-go, the Raiders' game plan was simple. If you can't win, injure the other team's best player. When Griffin took a cheap shot to the head and stayed down on the field, I got that not-so-easy feeling in my stomach. That feeling that we Baylor fans are all too familiar with. That feeling that the dream is over. We lost the game, we lost the Heisman, we lost our season, it's over! But just when things looked darkest, St. Nick came early this year.
Lawrence fakes the handoff, wants to throw. Deep ball, center of the field, he's got a man! Kendall Wright, touchdown!
Nick Florence burned his red shirt, revealing a suit of armor underneath. The human bowling ball, aka Terrence Ganaway, went into beast mode on Saturday. He had 42 carries for over 200 yards, and now he's poised to break Baylor's single-season rushing record. If that guy's not a beast, Well, there's no need to get into hypotheticals. He is a beast, so, we can just leave it at that. So the Bears picked up their 8th win of the season, all the while robbing Texas Tech of bowl eligibility. Oh, how the tides have turned. Thanksgiving Day was also the last game between UT and A&M. The Longhorns versus the Aggies, the Sips versus the Dips, the arrogant versus the ignorant, the sedated cow versus the effeminate dog.
It's up. The Longhorns win it. And devastation for the Aggie players and the entire Aggie family.
Meanwhile, at the Golden Nipple, let's talk hoops. The women's basketball team is holding down the #1 spot with ease. The men's hoops team moved up to number 7 nationally. Is there anything we can do to improve this ranking? Like maybe add a future NBA power forward, maybe somebody who was picked as the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, something like that? Oh, I'm being told we have exactly such a player on our bench. Perry Jones III. PJ3 played his first game of the year against Prairie View A&M and came out with a career-high 27 points. Perry, of course, had to sit out the first 5 games of the season because the NCAA was so mad at Cam Newton. Now time is the only thing that stands between the Bears and New Orleans. Back to football. This Saturday, the Bears will close out their season at home, looking for their 9th win and 2 in a row against UT. RG3 will be making a last pitch to Heisman voters. If that's not enough to get you to watch the game, both Art Briles and Phil Bennett have birthdays on December 3rd. So wish them a happy birthday and come on, Phil the Floyd.